Hey guys, it's Alex. I'm out here in the garage and I'm excited because we got a really special video today. We're gonna be cutting some cool rocks, but these are not just any rocks. We're gonna be cutting not one, not two, but three giant Yellowstone agates. And boy, am I excited because each one of these has the potential for some really, really cool stuff inside. So before we start cutting, I want to show you each one of these agates so we can get an idea of what we might find inside of them. And then we'll get them on the saw and start cutting.
All right, we're gonna take a look at our three agates here. They're all kind of different in their own way, but the one thing they have in common is they're all quite large. And again, these are all Yellowstone River agates. I found all of these myself around Billings, Montana. This first one is, oh man, it's probably the hardest to really get a good idea of what's going on inside. You can see its nice size. And I've got, there's a few little windows where you kind of maybe see like a little moss in there, but I mean, who knows? I've cut agates like this open before. Sometimes they've got amazing stuff inside, and sometimes there's not a lot going on. So this is probably the one that we're gonna start cutting first. Up next is the biggest agate of the group. This was one that I found last year. I've been waiting to cut this one open for a while, and I think now is the time. From what I can tell, looking inside the window here, it's not like you get a good deal of information. It could just be clear agate. Maybe there's some banding inside, maybe there's some moss, but what I'm not sure of is how I'm gonna cut it. There's a part of me that wants to just cut it across like this, and there's another part of me that wants to cut it lengthwise and expose a larger face. So we'll kind of figure that out once we get it in the vise. Either way, it's gonna be a little bit of a luck of the draw because I don't see too many clues on the outside that's gonna let me know exactly where we should cut and how we should cut. And I think we're gonna save the best for last. This one here I found in the last video. If you haven't watched, you can click the link up here to see me find it. It's a 3.5 pound agate. You can see here there's a really cool banding going around the outside. So my plan is to cut across the face like this to hopefully expose banding and then this quartz pocket on the inside. What I think is really interesting is that here in the middle, there's another pocket of agate material. You can see the agate on the outside, quartz here where my thumb is, and then back here inside again is more agate. So I'm not really sure what to expect, but I can tell that the agate banding goes all the way around the peel that has formed around this quartz pocket. So I'll be very curious to see what that looks like. Again, hopefully we get lucky and we find something really good. So without further ado, let's get started with this one. We're just gonna get it on the saw, try to find a good place to get started, and we'll let it start cutting.
Okay guys, and as usual, we're gonna be using our awesome Highland Park Lapidary 12-inch slab saw to cut these agates. I know I've talked about this before, but this thing is an absolute beast. I've got links down in the description for how to find it and more information, but we're gonna get the rock set up here in this vise, and then this saw actually has an automatic feed that slowly feeds the rock into this blade here, the green blade that's spinning super slowly. It takes about 30 minutes per cut, and then once it's done, the saw automatically stops and you're done. Down here in the bottom, you can see there's a reservoir of coolant, which is actually mineral oil. That's to keep the blade from getting too hot as it's cutting through the rock. This is just a diamond blade. You can see it's not sharp in any way, but the blade has these teeny tiny diamonds set into it, and that's what's actually going to be cutting the rock. So if you're curious about the saw, that's the basic idea. At some point I may do a little bit more of a overview of how these saws work and the different things you can do with it. Okay, so we've got our first agate here set up in the vise. You can see that the blade is going to come cut right across here, and we will hopefully be able to see some cool stuff on the inside of this agate. So all we have to do now, we close the lid, and then we get to push the magic button. And again, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to cut a rock as big as this one. So we'll come back to the saw. Usually I have to kind of let the fumes and the vapors from the mineral oil that gets stirred up as the saw is running, I let those settle before we open this up. You really don't want to be inhaling those. So we'll come back and check on it once it's done, and then we'll get going on our other rocks. All right, guys, rock number 1 is done. Ooh, I gotta say, take a look at that. That is very promising. Should we see what's inside? Okay, we're gonna back it off the blade here. And I'm not gonna show you just yet. You guys ready? Wow. That's really cool. I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting to find anything like this. The question is, should we queue it up for another cut? Huh. I am not so sure. We might have to take it out and take a look. All right, I figured it'd be nice to come show these here out in the sunlight. Just look at this thing. I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't think this would be quite so exciting. It's a bummer that there's these kind of like pockets in the middle, but I mean, also it really gives it kind of a unique look. What a cool agate. And also, like, you can't help but wonder, like, what would it have looked like if you cut it a little bit deeper? But honestly, I think this will be a really fun one to polish. And here is the other side. Super cool. Look at that clean cut too. All right, let's see what's next. All right, we got this big boy set up in here. So again, you can see kind of the plane we're gonna cut across. And my plan is maybe to do a couple different slices, just depending on what we find inside. So again, total mystery. I'm really excited. I mean, cutting these things just never gets old. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing going. And we'll see you in a few minutes. All right, guys, it is actually the following day, but let's check this out. You'll see I've actually done 2 cuts just because I wanted to get a little further into the agate, but let's take a look at what we got so far. It looks like a pretty plain agate, which definitely can happen with some of these bigger ones. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a ton going on the inside. I mean, it's really, I mean, of course, every agate is really pretty, but let's take a look. Pulling it back off here. Yeah, I mean, it almost looks like there could be a little bit of banding in here, and it almost looks like there's more stuff the deeper you go. So I'm tempted to take another like ½ centimeter off of it just to see. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back and see what we got. All right, let's see what we got. Interesting. Oh, wow. Oh, I definitely am starting to see some banding in there now. And look at that inclusion. That's really pretty.
Well, I'm glad that we cut a little bit farther. Let's go ahead and take this out of the saw real quick. Well, check that out. There it is. See, the banding inside is subtle, but it's there if you look close. And this material is really interesting. I want to say that's petrified wood, but I don't know for sure. Very interesting. Okay, and now we've got the grand finale. This is what I've been waiting to cut for a while now. The game plan is to cut right across here and hopefully expose more of these bands and more of this quartz pocket. But of course, who knows? Who knows what we'll find? So let's go ahead and make a cut here and see what we got. All right, guys, just got back from a round of disc golf and it's time to open this thing. I am so excited. Let us check it out. Let's look at this first. Ooh. That is pretty. Be very curious to see what this looks like. All right, let's go ahead and ready for the grand reveal. Oh, wow. That is beautiful. Look at that thing. Now we have to decide whether or not we want to cut another slice off. And frankly, I think I'm tempted to, because then we'd have a kind of a good slab. Okay, yep. So let's do another slice, and then we'll take a closer look. All right, and here we are, ready to check out this last slice on this amazing agate. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a good sign. That, wow, that's incredible. So you can see there's actually a little water line in the middle of that. And then you've got the banding around the outside and the quartz. That is just, that is stunning. All right, let's put this over here with the rest of our agates. Now it's time for the grand reveal. Y'all ready for this? Wow, would you look at that? That is just remarkable. I really like this little like eye up there. That's gorgeous. Let's go ahead and take it out of the vise real quick. Well, I was gonna check out the lighting outside, but honestly I think it's better inside. There you have it. This thing pretty much has it all. Quartz, waterline, banding, whatever you want to call that up there. What an incredible agate. Well guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed me cutting open these agates. I've been putting this off for way too long, so I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you're new to the channel. Lots more content coming, especially now that we're getting into the good time of year for rock hunting. So Stay tuned for rock hunts, more rock cutting, and there may or may not be a giveaway coming when we hit 35,000 subscribers. So keep your eyes open for that, and I'll see you guys next time.